Aloha. For this particular assignment, the assignment on introducing the issues for mass media and the discussion about Frontline and Facebook, I wanted to take a few minutes to give you this video feedback rather than a normal typed feedback, because I think there's a lot to really think about regarding this special and how it technically will connect to the rest of our class. I don't think there's an easy answer about regulating content on the internet, and I'm not a big fan of having an iron fist. But I do think one of the most important takeaways from this special and from what we are seeing online and what we're hearing discussed a lot in the news is there needs to be something. There needs to be some sort of baseline where we can at least monitor for nefarious users and also for people who might wish to cause harm to others. At some point in time, I remember growing up the phrase, sticks and stones can hurt me, but words never will. Didn't say that right, but you get the gist of it. But we're learning that that's not true. And it never was true, to be honest with you. But when we say horrible things to people, when we troll people, when we deceive people using fake news, when we use propaganda, when we decide what information certain users can have access to depending upon how big their pocketbook is, all of these things are dangerous. And all of them impact communication, mass communication, interpersonal communication, and global communication as well, so intercultural communication as well. What we'll learn coming up about newspapers is that newspapers and actually television, radio, all of those old forms of mass media in the publishing world, there was somebody who acted as a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper is somebody who decides what information can be published to what audience and when. So editors, for example, of newspapers would decide what stories would be published and what stories would not be published. And they were held to a very high standard. Stories had to be vetted for accuracy. Facts had to be proven that they actually existed. And they had to make sure that the people or the sources that they used for different news stories, even if they didn't mention their names, that they were good sources, that should a law, for example, somebody sue the newspaper or sue for defamation of character or anything like that, that when they talked about where they got their information from their sources, that it would hold up in court. Everything's changed. When the internet came about, the whole entire game field changed entirely. And this isn't necessarily all that bad. That is a lot of power to give individuals, to allow them, editors of newspapers, radio shows, television shows, newscasts, all of those people, they had a lot of power deciding what content we would look at. And so it's great that the internet has opened this gaming field so that all of us have an opportunity to make some of those decisions for ourselves and decide what information we want to impart to the world as well. But we are not held to the same standards as newspapers were and other gatekeepers of past. And this has become a problem. And that's what we see in the Facebook. Matter of fact, the gatekeepers today are algorithms. And we often like to say, well, an algorithm is unbiased, but we forget people are the ones who end up programming the algorithms. People are the ones who make these decisions. So yeah, the algorithm might not make a decision, but it is programmed with a human's bias, a human's knowledge, and whether we like it or not, a human's decision of what should be shown to us versus what should not be shown to us. And what's worse, these new gatekeepers, the algorithms, are invisible. We don't see them. We forget that they exist in some ways. When we do a search on the internet, when we find out what is coming up on our feed, a matter of fact, Facebook at least, because their algorithms narrows down so much about the content and what we end up seeing on our feed, at least we're aware of it. But for the most part, we aren't aware of it. So these are important things to keep in mind. So I am really glad that you took the time to watch this special, and I hope you were able to watch both the hours. If not, I do encourage you to finish it up. It's a great introduction for all the complex questions and issues that we're going to be looking for about how mass media has changed in our modern times as a result of the internet and other computer-mediated communication devices, such as, our text messaging and so on and so forth. So please watch the rest of the special if you weren't able to finish it all. And I do want to thank you for watching. And that's it. Have a terrific day and aloha.